Shalom. So, just real quick, wanted to come on here and say that it's very important for us to really be filled with Ruach HaKodesh in these times. Submit yourself to Yahusha HaMashiyakh, because he is the truth, the life, and the way, and no one can get to the Father except through him. And I said Yahusha HaMashiyakh, okay? Yahusha HaMashiyakh, no other name, okay? Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because in these times that we are in, you have to be able to see the enemy and what the enemy is doing. Last summer, Ruach HaKodesh kept emphasizing to me to have the mind of a warrior. Even told me to go research different warriors and a warrior mindset. And now here it is the very next year, and I'm starting to understand why that was necessary. Because the enemy will throw things at you, and if you don't understand that this is an attack, if you don't have eyes to see and ears to hear. Okay, so what am I talking about? I don't typically watch television unless I'm led to watch something in particular, but most of the, I guess you can call it television because I do watch it on my TV, most of what I watch is just YouTube videos. And it'll be stuff, you know, it'll be teachings about Abba Yahuwah and so on and so forth. But them commercials, man, there's a guy that I watch that a sister of mine had introduced me to. It's called The Davis Family, and I'll put the link to his YouTube channel in the description to this video. But very good teacher. But one thing that I noticed was all the commercials that YouTube has assigned to his channel are like in direct opposition of what he's teaching about. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be all kinds of paganistic, secular type things. So I'm just like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, enemy. But I said all that to say, one of the commercials that I have been seeing on a regular is for this movie Till. And the reason why this is very necessary for you to understand what's going on. So we know that we live in the beast system. Some of us are not of the beast system anymore because we have been born again through Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, reborn, whatever. But we still live in the beast system currently. And the beast feeds off of flesh. Okay? So it's very necessary for the beast to get you in your flesh so that you can feed it. So why is it in 2022, now I don't know the exact year that it happened, I know it's a long time ago, sorry, but Emmett Till was a little black boy, I want to say from Chicago, I can't remember, but he was a little black boy that went to go visit his cousins during the summertime, and he looked at a white woman and they killed him. So yes, it was a horrible thing that happened. Very, very tragic. And if it was my son, I don't know if I could remain in the Ruach. I'm just saying. But what am I telling you? Why is it in 2020 we have a movie coming out about this? And it's a movie coming out about the situation instead of them working to rectify the current racism that we face in this world right now. Notice they're not doing anything to stop the problem of racism, enacting any laws to make it illegal, all this other stuff. All they're doing is continuing to put it in your face. Continue to put it in your face. There's a reason for that. Because they know that when they put it in your face, and it's not just black people. There are white people that get mad about it. I mean, there are white people that are like, yo, this is a kid. This is ridiculous. There are Asian people that get mad about it. It's not just black people. They don't care what your skin color is. They just want you to be mad because the beast needs to eat. And so they're putting it in your face. They're putting it in your face. They're putting it in your face. They're not doing anything to rectify the situation. Just want to put it in your face. So when the BLM movement, well, when Black Lives Matter movement came out, yeah, Ruach HaKodesh already told me that, you know, it was a lie. It was false. Which, you know, since then, it has been exposed as being false and whatnot. It was 3 black women that literally professed to be witches on an interview, like it came out of their mouth that they are witches, that supposedly started this movement. Now, we all know that once they started it, it was another organization that came in and started backing it. I won't speak about that organization, but if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, you know what I'm talking about. So I said all that to say there were two main things that they kept saying. The first one was say their name. Now, this came from the three women that started the movement, because with them being witches, if you continue to say their name, you're invoking spirits, is what they said. I wish I could find the interview, but you can always look it up. I'm not going to do all the research for you. You do the research. But that invokes spirits. And being a former witch, I can tell you that that is correct. It invokes spirits. Now, it's not human spirits. That's where a lot of people get it wrong. There are no human spirits roaming this earth, okay? None. Any spirit you see is a demon, okay? We're just going to put that out there. So your great-granddaddy, your auntie, your mama, none of them are coming and visiting you, okay? Those are demons. Understand that. And they want you to engage with them so they can start to groom you for possession. So stop talking to these things. As a matter of fact, if you haven't already, give your life to Yahusha HaMashiyakh so you can get rid of these things. Anyway, said all that to say, the first one was say their name. So that told you about all of the grooming that they were doing. I'm sorry, this guy just passed with staring me all in my face, threw me off. But so that told you about, so they were trying to invoke these spirits, these demonic spirits. The second tagline from that movement was never forget. Never forget. Why don't they want you to forget? Because as long as you remember, you'll be angry and you'll start to operate in the works of the flesh. So again, I want you to see how the enemy is operating. Never forget. The beast can't eat if you forget. If you forget, the beast can't eat. Now, again, I want y'all to understand, I'm not downplaying any of the things that have happened and probably will happen in the future, because we all know we are in the beast system. But what I want you to understand is there's a reason why they keep putting things in your face. They keep putting things in your face. And the beast does not just operate in bad things, because you'll usually see good things being presented to you right before all the bad. So what am I talking about? So one of the ways that the beast gets you to lower your guard so that they can attack you and you'll be caught off guard is through nostalgia. So remember, I want to say the beginning of this year, towards the end of last year, even during, the pandemic, they had all of these nostalgic movies that came out. I want to say it was either the beginning of this year or last year that the new Ghostbusters movie came out. And it was supposed to be about, I didn't watch it, you guys, I don't know, it was either the kids or the grandkids of the original characters from Ghostbusters. And me being an 80s baby, I can tell you, for people that are my age and above, it was very nostalgic. But that was the whole point of it. Because now you're like, oh, you're feeling all this euphoria, and the next thing you know, they hit you with that, oh, by the way, never forget, Emmett Till. You know what I'm saying? This is how the enemy operates. As a matter of fact, it was either on my podcast or on one of these videos a while back, one of my YouTube videos a while back, that Ruach HaKodesh had me to say that people that operate, narcissists are actually operating through the Antichrist spirit. And when I say the Antichrist spirit, it's a grouping of demons, because we know that the enemy is not omniscient, omnipresent, or omnipotent. So it has to be a grouping of demons that operate in this nature, that have this character and nature, so on and so forth. But the reason why I'm saying that is because if you go and you study the characteristics of a narcissist, and they have a thing called crazy making. Crazy making is how, this is what psychologists have called it, but crazy making is how they attack their victim, because the first thing they do is they love bomb you, okay? So during the presidential election with Biden and Trump, Biden was love bombing us. I know all this bad stuff happened, and I know you had this horrible president, but I'm here for you. love bombing. Then they start to gaslight you, start to try to groom you, make you think that you're crazy because, hey, I didn't say that. What are you talking about? I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. You must be crazy, because they want you to think that you can't rely on your own mental capacities, mental faculties, okay? So that you'll rely on them. What do you think the Mandela effect is? It's literally a worldwide gaslighting that's been going on for years. Anyway, then you have the smear campaign. So now they have to start, point fingers at us, like we did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like different little groups. They have to start, like on the news, they start highlighting, well, I know you guys are talking about Black Lives Matter, but look at what's going on over here. Look at what you're doing to yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Which is true. We are doing stuff to ourselves, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they're doing stuff too. But because we don't have eyes to see, ears to hear, we just start being swayed whichever direction they want us to be swayed in. And then next thing you know, it's the discard. Now all of a sudden the mask fully comes off and, hey, we don't want you no more. We're out here trying to do this. And the attacks start coming. But the thing about it is, when it comes to the beast, the actual beast, because when the veil was torn, when Yahusha gave up Ruach HaKodesh and the veil was torn, it was a veil between the two different worlds, I guess you can say, the Ruach realm, the spiritual realm, and the physical realm. And unfortunately, when we're operating in the works of the flesh, we're blinded to, like, the physical world is the veil, okay? We can't see beyond that veil because we're not operating in his authority, which is Ruach, his nature, character, and authority. We're not operating in his authority. We're not walking in his name. Our flesh, pride breeds the work of the flesh, okay? How dare you do that to me? That's the reason why the enemy wants you to stay offended. The enemy wants you to stay mad. I think recently Ruach HaKodesh has kept having me to just drive this whole come out of yourself. You can't see the enemy if you're only thinking about yourself and what's being done to you. And I know what's being done to you is horrible. Nobody's saying that it isn't. But Ruach HaKodesh, or Abba Yahuwah, wants us to understand that we can't fight the enemy if we're so busy. We can't fight the enemy with our carnality. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Abba Yahuwah to the pulling down of strongholds. Okay, you cannot fight the enemy with your flesh. All you could do is feed the enemy. And the more you feed the enemy, the more it's going to poke at that flesh because, I done got a smorgasbord out of this one. You see what I'm saying? So the narcissist, this whole governmental beast system is narcissistic. It's the Antichrist spirit. It's the Antichrist spirit. Or, I'm sorry, let me correct myself, the anti-Mashiach spirit. So I just want you to understand that it's the anti-Mashiach spirit. All right, you guys. Don't go watch this movie. There is no reason for you to remember. Most people already know what happened. And our kids, you can tell your kids about what happened, but there's no need to watch this movie. There's no need. Why are you watching it? Why are you watching movies like this? Because they want you to think that they're putting it out there because, we're addressing this. They're not addressing the situation by making a movie about it. They're making money off of your flesh while pulling you and drawing you away from Abba Yahuwah. You're not gaining anything by feeding into this, feeding into their games. Yeah. Start thinking like a warrior. And when I say think like a warrior, I don't mean a warrior that's on, leave at home, resting until it's time to be deployed again. I mean like someone that's currently out on the battlefield, because we are. And if you don't give your life to Yahusha HaMashiyakh, and I mean really give your life to Yahusha HaMashiyakh and be filled with Ruach HaKodesh, you will be a casualty. You will be a casualty. And in the past, I used to be kind of frustrated because I'm like, you had me out here, you had me saying all this stuff and whatnot, and it just seems like I'm out here and nobody's really listening. There's very few people that's listening. And Ruach HaKodesh had to put me in my place in the past. 2 different ways he put me in my place. One was he reminded me of a dream that I had. I want to say it's like 8 years ago now, maybe even a little bit longer. It was 2015, so almost 8 years ago. He reminded me of a dream, and in the last part of the dream, as a matter of fact, it's a dream on my YouTube channel. It's one of my very first ones. It's called I can't remember what it's called, but it's a dream talking about the return of Mashiach. Okay, so if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see this dream. And at the end of that dream, I remember that I could see him coming, but every time I looked at the other people, like, I saw the storm, but they can only see sunshine. They couldn't see anything, and they were just going on about their way like everything was all fine and dandy. And I was running through the midst of people trying to let them know, and I kept pointing back towards the storm, and nobody was listening. And Ruach HaKodesh had to tell me very recently, he said, it's only a remnant. It's a remnant. And we like to think of just the present time because we operate inside of time. Abba Yahuwah operates outside of time. So the remnant that is going to the new or the renewed Jerusalem is not just filled with people from this time. It's also those that have already died for his name's sake. The remnant is filled with people that have already died for his name's sake. And then people from this time. So you got to understand that remnant just got a little bit smaller, okay? You got, like, it's not a remnant of current believers. It's a remnant of all believers since then, okay? So you got to understand, like, it's very imperative that you come out your feelings. You got to come out your feelings. And the thing about it is, it's going to feel like you're going to feel that, how dare they say that to me? Who do they think they are? Don't they know who I am? That's pride. You got to let it go. You got to let it go. Pride goes before a fall. And the fall, if you fall into the lake of fire, that's like, you ain't coming back from that fall. You ain't coming back from that fall. Like, it's hard too. Because I got a boss. I'm going to be very transparent with you guys. I got a boss that I promise you, I gotta smile and yes ma'am and all this other stuff. Realistically, I want to cuss her out. Okay, I want to cuss her out and be like, who do you think you are? Like, who do you think you're talking to? I really want to do that. But one, if I do that, I will be destroying the witness that I already have to my other co-workers of Abba Yahuwah and Yahusha HaMashiyakh through how I've ministered and how I have moved and operated, well, how Abba Yahuwah has moved and operated me in and through my job. But then two, I'm gonna be feeding the beast. So instead, I have to go to Abba, talk to him about the situation, fill up on the word, because the more I fill up on the word, the easier it is for me to operate in the fruits of Ruach HaKodesh. If you're filling up on fleshly things by watching these fleshly television shows and listening to these fleshly songs and so on and so forth, it's going to be harder for you to operate in the fruits of Ruach HaKodesh because all you fed your spirit was flesh, okay? So just like when you eat natural food, it processes itself through your body and then it comes out. The same thing with whatever you feed your spirit. It processes itself through your spirit and then it comes back out, okay? So you can't eat of the flesh and think that the fruits of the Ruach HaKodesh is going to come out. That's not how it works. You have to feed the spirit man. You have to feed your Ruach, okay? So that the fruits of Ruach HaKodesh is what people are presented with. And it's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard. I'm not going to act like it's not hard because, like I said, I be wanting to cuss her out all the time. Because she just be doing stuff. She be doing too much, okay? She be doing too much. And it's even more frustrating because this woman is a Christian. I've even had to look at her before she literally got mad at me one day for giving her scripture. I want y'all to understand, like, this is what I'm dealing with. This is not someone that is just completely out there in the world. This is someone that claims to know the Most High, which we already know that ain't the case. But like I said, you got to come out your flesh. Stop letting them poke and prod at you. Start to see the enemy and how the enemy works in all of everything, okay? Come out of Babylon. Stop eating of the king's delicacies, okay? You remember Daniel and Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael? Those are the names of the 3 Hebrew boys, by the way. Their names are actually praises unto Abba Yahuwah. So when you say their Babylonian names that was given to them, you're actually praising Baal. So that's why I refuse to call them by their Babylonian names, which is what you constantly hear in sermons, them being called by their Babylonian names. Nebuchadnezzar had them renamed after his God, to give praise to his God. But Abba Yahuwah named them to give praise to him. So Hananiah, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, okay? Those are their names. And Daniel. Remember, they didn't eat of the king's delicacies. Stop eating of the world. Stop flirting with the world. Come out of Babylon. Stop watching their shows. Stop listening to their music. Stop. You have to stop. You have to stop. Because the more that you eat of the king's delicacies, the more you are going to, 1, be dependent on the king, feed the beast, and 2, be drawn away from Abba Yahuwah. You have to come out of Babylon. It's imperative. Imperative. All right. Let me go into this place because it's starting to get a little bit late. I love you guys. Shalom Aleichem.